Hi, my name is Chad McComas, and I'm running for City Council for Ward 3. I have lived in Medford since 1991. My wife and I moved here. This was coming home for her. She had grown up in Medford. We were excited about coming back. I've been involved with a lot with people in the last, almost 30 years now, living here in Medford. I've been a pastor for most of that time, but I've also been involved with nonprofit work for at least 20 to 25 years while I've been here in the Medford area. And being part of all that work shows me what the needs are in this community, huge needs in this community. About 4 years ago, I also ran for city council, and I walked every street that was in Ward 3, and I realized that there's a lot of people suffering and have a lot of needs in this community. And that's another reason I wanted to run again this time, because I think that with the experiences I've had working with housing issues, working with the people that don't have all the needs that they met that they need to have, the resources they need to have, I think I've got a pretty good idea about what the city needs to do to help these folks and how we can reach out and serve our community. I think we got a great community, but now, especially with these fires and all the damage it's done to Phoenix and to Talent, we're going to have to, as a city, really work hard at rebuilding this community and Southern Oregon. And I think I can be part of that. I'm already involved with a lot of commissions and meetings and committees, and we're working together with other nonprofits. And I think that I have a unique ability, because of all the networking that I've had, to really make a difference in this community. I hope you'll vote for me, Chad McComas, for Ward 3. That's coming up in November, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you. Questions often asked, why would you run for city council? I mean, it's a volunteer job. You don't get paid. Why would you want to do that? And I think my answer is this. Because of the role I've been playing for the last 20 to 30 years here in Medford, and working with a whole lot of people, and especially in the last 4 or 5 years, working more closely with the city and seeing the needs of the city, I just want to do it because I really care about this city, and I really believe I'm in a position where I can make some changes. And I'm not saying that to criticize anyone else. That's not who I am. But I do think that I've got the passion for it, and I've got the drive to do it, and I've got some networking that needs to be in place. So I think that I can really help the city at this point. I'm not doing it for fame. Well, what fame is there to be a city councilor? And I'm not doing it for money, because this is a volunteer job. I'm doing it because I care about this community. I'm not here to criticize anybody else. I'm just here to get in and work, and kind of roll up my sleeves type of thing, and see what we can do to make this a better city. So that's why I'm running for city council. People often ask, what do I think are the biggest issues that are facing Medford right now? And I've got to say, I've been working with the city in different capacities in the last 2 or 3 years, getting to know some of the leaders. We have some really good leaders here in Medford. I'm really proud of them, and I'm excited about some of them continuing on in their roles, and we may be getting some new ones. But I sense that we really have a good leadership team in Medford that has a good heart, and they want to do some things to make changes. And I've been seeing how they're starting to make some good changes. So what are the big things right now? Well, of course, the fires have changed everything. Our housing crisis just got exponentially worse. We had a 1% rental rate here that you could get into places here in Southern Oregon. We have lack of affordable housing, and we lack housing at all different levels. There was a program a couple years ago that was put on by AARP talking about the missing middle, and how we need to build more things, and our city's going to have to step up and make some changes. And I see they're working that way, but now we've got to do even more than ever before. We're saying with over 2,000 homes lost in this fire in Talent and Phoenix, that affects Medford. And that means that there's just less places for people to live. What are we going to do as a city? I think that's our top priority. How are we going to replace all that affordable housing? How are we going to get people off the streets and get them into a safe, stable place? We're going to have to deal with that. We're going to have to change some policies. We're going to have to do things differently than we've ever done it before. And that's one reason I'm excited about being possibly part of this, if you'll vote me in, to help make decisions of how we can fix this society. A lot of people are saying, well, what about racial justice? What about all these things? I think that we're just, as a community, we recognize that we've got to serve everybody equally. And I think we've got good leadership to do that. I think our police force is definitely trying to figure out how to do things in a fair way, the best that they possibly can. So I really think that we're going to see some great things coming down the pike. And with your help and the community involvement, I think we can do some good things. So often people say, how do you get the community involved in city decisions or making a change? And maybe most people don't understand that the city has a great system of commissions that are volunteer positions that you can apply for. And that's how you get a lot of people from the community involved. That's how I've been involved with the city for the last number of years, is I've been on a commission and I volunteered, and then they elected me to be on that commission, and I've had a wonderful time serving on that commission. So there may be some people out there that says, I really want to do something for the city. Well, it's not going to do you a lot of good to go knock on the mayor's office, because there's not a lot he can do at this point. But what happens is that there's a system where people can get involved on a commission level, and then that commission encourages city council to vote on certain things, and then city council's a decision-making process, that or a body that makes a decision. So yeah, there's a lot of place for citizens who really want to make a difference to get involved. And I would suggest they go to the City of Medford website, then pull down commissions, and they'll talk about openings and opportunities. A lot of people can get involved. People say, do you love Southern Oregon? Of course I love Southern Oregon. I've lived here almost 30 years. My wife grew up here. She went to high school here. She went to North when it was just one school in town. There weren't two high schools. My kids have grown up here. I had an opportunity when my kids were young to leave here to go somewhere else, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted them to grow up in a community and have roots in that community, and friendships in that community. And my daughter is working in this community. I'm really proud of her. She's making a big difference, and she's going to make a big difference in this community in years to come. So it's important to me to give back to this community for my daughter and possibly grandchildren down the road, and the people I've grown to love in this community. I've been a pastor for all these years, and so I have a congregations that I've worked with. I got to know all those people. So Southern Oregon is my family, and it's important to me to serve this the best I can. You know, someone asked a question, if you had $1 million, what would you do in the city? You know, $1 million sounds like a lot for me personally, but for the city, it's really not a lot. There's not a whole lot you can do with $1 million. I hate to say it that way, but probably the biggest need that we have in Medford that I see, because I deal with it all day long, is there's not enough housing. So I think I would take that $1 million and try to create some housing and try to find a way to make low-income housing the best way we can. We might even buy a motel somewhere and reconvert that to housing. Right now we need it more than ever before. And so, you know, looking for ways for long-term. One of the things that people don't realize is that how do you draw businesses to the Rogue Valley to create more jobs and to create more industry if we don't have enough housing? Because if you get a business to move here, their employees have got to live somewhere. And if you have nothing open for people to live and you don't have options, nobody's going to want to move here. So we have got to create housing. That's the biggest thing. $1 million, that just might be enough to start something, but it wouldn't be able to finish much. The question posed to me a lot is, what's your biggest accomplishment? I really don't like to talk a lot about what I do or what I've done, but I think I've got to answer that question honestly. So I will go back and I'll say that in 1998, I was privileged to be part of a small group of people who had this concept of building an organization to serve people that desperately needed some help, and we called it Rogue Retreat. Today, Rogue Retreat is an organization that has over 60 employees, and we have over 300 people a night living under a Rogue Retreat roof somewhere. Let me tell you, that took a lot of hard work to get to that point. I can remember for the first 10 years we had no paid employees. I was a volunteer for at least 12 years before I ever got a paycheck from Rogue Retreat. But there was a passion to create something that could serve people forever and outlive me and outlive other folks that sat around that table. And we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And right now we are growing exponentially because the needs are so great. And I think we've been able to build an organization that is respected by other organizations in the community, by the city. We're respected by the state of Oregon, and we're now starting to get national attention from other places. And so that's my biggest accomplishment, although I can't take credit because I am a believer in God and I'll have to give him all the credit. But at least I've been willing to let God lead me and help me build this organization to what it is today.